Dear friend, welcome back. In today's video, we will be learning about variables in Python. The main agenda in this video are what are variables, how to assign value to a variable, how to name the variables, how to name multi-word variable, how to assign values to multiple variables, a simple swapping program, and we also look at what are the possible errors with variables. Coming to variables, variables are like containers. So here glass is a variable name and itself a container which hold the drink. The drink can be treated to be a value. Now coming to Python. In Python, everything is an object. Object holds the value or information or data. To keep track of objects, we use variables. They are attached to the object and have a name. Object has the important data, the value and the type of data. Now how to assign a value to a variable? So here is a simple instruction in Python. On your left, we call that one as variable name, which is name of candidate. And on your right, the value that is assigned is a string. Now what actually happening behind the scenes when we assign a value to a variable? The moment we assign a value to a variable, then immediately one object will be created. As we know, the object is going to hold important information like ID, value, and the type of that data. The value is a data, right, or information we call. So immediately this object will be keep tracked by the variable name. So the variable name here is name of candidate. So here are few instructions which can work with assigning a variable, how to know the ID of that variable, how to know the type of the value which is assigned to that variable. So to know the ID, you use ID of, and to know the type of the value or data, then you can use the function type of. So as given in the instructions, you can practice. Coming to the variables again. So values in the variables can be changed. How it is done? So we took the same example here. Previously, the container glass hold the drink of first type, and later we can also change the drink in the same container or glass. So in the same way, let us take the variable a, which is assigned with value 10, then the same variable which is assigned with another value which is a string. So now when the value is assigned to a, so at that moment the computer will create an object, and that object will hold the important information like ID, value, type, and it will be assigned to the variable name a. Now when the same variable a is assigned with another value, what happens? So it will create another object, and another object will be having the important information like ID, value, type. Then it will be assigned to the same variable a. So at this moment, the previously created object will be cleaned by Python, and technically we call that one as garbage collected. Now it is only assigning to another variable which is later created, another object which is later created with another ID and the value, and the type of that value is string. So here are the code snippet where the variable is assigned with different values, and how to know how to print the value, ID, and type of that particular value which is assigned to that variable. Now how to name the variables and what are the considerations? So here the variable name must start with the letter or the underscore character. So the letter may be capital letters or small letters. So here one code snippet is given. Count is the variable name. Now it is assigned with a value 0, and the starting letter is capital letter. So this is acceptable. So when you print the value of the variable, then it is 0. So we can see the output there. And in the second case, the variable name is given in small letters and it is assigned with 0 value. Then we printed it. So the output is 0. Now the variable name started with underscore count, which is assigned again a value 10. Then we print it. So we get the output 10. So these type of naming which are starting with capital letters or small letters or underscore is acceptable. Even all the letters may be also given in capital letters. There is no issue with that. Now the variable name cannot start with a number. So whenever we give a variable name, it should not start with a number. So we say should not. That means what? That is a rule. So we need to follow. So if we don't follow the rule, then what do we get? We have seen in the lecture one, video one, that if you don't follow the rule, then we get syntax error. So let us try that one also. So here the variable name is started with 2, then count, which is assigned with value 10, and then we try to print that value of that particular variable to count. So then immediately it throws an error. So what is that error? Syntax error. So it says that it says that invalid syntax. So we should follow the rules. If you don't follow the rules, immediately we get an error which is called as syntax error. Variable names are case sensitives. That is, if you look at those 3 words in the brackets, total, then capital T, then total, and all the letters are capitals, total. If you look at the English meaning, for all the 3 words, it is same. But when it is written, then 3 are different in programming language. So we will see that one also. So in this code example, small letters have been taken as total, and it is a variable name, and it is assigned with 10. So now when we try to print total, then print total, then print total. So what is happening? As we know, Python is executing the code line by line, right? So when it is executing the code line by line, then first total equal to 10 will be read, then it prints the total. So you get the answer as 10. Later it goes to this instruction, then it sees total, but this total is not defined earlier, right? So immediately it throws the error. So here it is pointing where that error has occurred in the written code. Fine. So immediately saying that there is a name error because it is not defined. So we have used a variable which is not defined earlier. So defining means what? We take a variable and we will assign a value. That is called we say defining a variable, right? So here for total, it is not defined. So it throws the error, name error, saying that name total is not defined. So to overcome this, what we can do is that, so you take this sample code total, it is a variable which is assigned the value 10, then you print total. So it prints you the 10. Now later you take capital T, then you assign a value to this and it is a string, then you try to print that so that you will get that particular output. Now again you take another variable total and it is assigned with a float value, then you print it, again you will get 3.9 as an output. So this way the variable names are case sensitive. So in Python everything is case sensitive, that you can say, right? So you should be very careful. So if you use any variable before it's assigned before it is defined, then it throws an error which is called as name error. Now a variable name can only contain letters or alphabets, we can say capital or small, the numbers 0 to 9 and an underscore. So here you can see one example. So here it is my variable. So it contains capital letters, small letters, underscore, and numbers. So this is valid. So this is assigned with a value 100. Then you just try to print that. So you will get the value as 100. You cannot use special characters with the variable name. So these are the various special characters. So if you use these special characters in the variable name at the beginning, then immediately it will also throw you the error. So what is that? So here dollar my variable. So it is assigned with 12. Then when we use to print that one, immediately the error will be thrown. What is that error? That error will be the syntax error, because we are not following the rule, right? So we did not follow the syntax, so immediately it throws the syntax error. So this is not possible in naming the variable names. Now, do not use reserved keywords as a variable name. So there are few reserved keywords. So these cannot be used for naming the variable, like class, for, def, delete, is, else, try, from, etc. So if we try to use that, what will happen? So this def is the keyword for defining a function. So directly we have taken that one as variable name and we assign a value to that. So when we try to print that, it throws the syntax error. Why syntax error? Because it is a rule, right? Do not use reserved keywords. It is a rule. So we did not follow the rule. So immediately it throws the syntax error. So how to name the multiwords variables in Python? So there are various cases in Python. So like camel case, snake case, and Pascal case, right? So in case of camel case, so the variable name must be the starting letter is starting uh, letter of the word. First word is small, and the next word is capital. So like this. So camel case, right? So this name is possible in case of Python. So it is assigned with a variable. It is assigned a value to that variable my name. Now coming to snake case. So each word is separated by an underscore, right? And each word is in the small letters only. So if it is like that, we call that one as snake case, and that variable is provided with the value here. Again, you will be having the Pascal case. So in Pascal case, the first word is a capital letter, and the second word first letter is also a capital letter. And again, that one is provided with a value. So what are the pros and cons of these three, and where we can use these multi-word variable naming concepts? So when it is coming to camel case, so the thing is that the pros are it is widely used in programmer community, right? And the coming to cons, looks ugly when used inward variable name. So if number of words are increased in a variable name, then it somewhat it looks ugly. Coming to snake case, the pros are concise when it is consisting of a few words, and when it comes to cons, then it is redundant as hell when it gets longer. And coming to Pascal case, the pros are seems neat, and cons are barely used. So in this case, I can suggest you that either you can go for camel case or snake case, and they can support up to one extent that your code looks very neatly. And basically coming to camel case, it is widely used by programmers. So how we assign values to multiple variables, right? So in this case, let us take this program. So there are three variables, ABC, multi variables, and we have assigned the values to each variable on your right. So now, what happens when A, B, C are assigned with these values? So immediately, an object will be created for A, and it holds a value as 1 and ID and the type of value that is assigned to the variable. So immediately this object is referenced by A. Now another object will be created and it stores the float value 3.5 and ID and type of that value, and it will be assigned to the variable B. And later one more object will be created and also it stores important information with it, and it will be assigned to the variable C. So like this, when you assign values to multiple variables, then the corresponding objects will be created and they will be keep tracked by the variable name. And on your left, you can see how to print each variable value, and how to print the ID, and how to print the type of the value that is assigned to. Now, what are the possible errors that may encounter while working with the variable names in Python? So now the error occurs when you mean to print a string but forgot to put quotes around it, right? So let us take a piece of code here. So here what I tried to print the string Shyam Sundar, but I forgot to keep that string in quotes. Then immediately it throws the error as expected, right? So here Shyam Sundar it should be in string, right? That you can see here. So when it is in the Shyam Sundar string is kept in quotes, then it will print as it is whatever the value that you have given. But when we forgot to give quotes, then it throws the error. So we will get the name error. So when we are working with the variable names, we get the name error and saying that that is not defined. And also occurs when forgot to create the variable before using it. So we have a variable, but we did not define it or not assign any value for that, but we try to use that. So then we get the error. So let us take this. So here variable name is A, but A is not defined any value. That may be 10 or that may be any float value or that may be any uh, uh, a string, right? So it is not defined, but directly we have used it. So we get name error. I'm saying that name A is not defined. Then to overcome this problem, what we can do? So you have to define it earlier, then you try to print, then you will get the output as expected. Now, variables are case sensitive. These are all case sensitive. So it occurs when you made a typo error when you are writing your code. So we will check that one also. So here A is 10, the value that taken as 10, right? And B is 5. Now we try to print the sum of variables is A plus B. See here capital A is taken, but small a should be taken in that place. So when we use, as we know that Python is a case sensitive programming language. So when you use the variable names, they must be taken proper care. So when we try to do like this, then what will happen? It immediately throws the error, name error, saying that capital A is not defined. So to overcome that, what we can do? You can take a small a instead of capital A. And one more example that you can consider here, total equals to 0. So there is a for loop. No need to worry about this for and everything. Just try to know how the error will be generated. So here, whatever the total that I would like to print, I made a typo error keeping small t as capital T. Then what happens is that that capital T word total is not defined earlier, right? So immediately it throws the name error saying that that particular uh, total is not defined, right? So whenever you look at the error, it gives us beautiful information where exactly the error is occurred. So like this, it points where exactly that error is occurred. So immediately you can go to that error. You can have a look at that. So this capital total T is not defined. So you go to your program and verify that and keep necessary changes so that we can get the expected output, right? So these are the various possible errors that may be occurred with variable names. Now we will try to see the variables in Jupyter notebook. So for that, let us open our Jupyter notebook. So for that, you have to open the Anaconda Navigator, right? So in that, you have to look for Jupyter notebook. So just click launch. So it opens. So it is open. So previously you might have kept your folder, right? So here it is Python training. So in this Python training folder, I need to create my Jupyter notebook. So for that, you click new and open Python 3. So it opens. And I can also give the naming for this notebook. So here it is Python variables. Python variables. Just rename it. So it changes to that. Now we can work on ethyl. So now we can assign a value to the variable A and we can try to print that value A, and also we can print ID of that variable A. That is, we are going to see the ID of that object which is tracked by the variable A. Then also we can see the type of value that is assigned to that variable A, right? So once it is done, you just click run, so that it gives you the output. So now again, when you try to print this one, the ID may not be same, right? So dynamically the ID will be provided, and whatever the ID that I got in my output may not be same the ID that you got in your system, right? And also we can see the next case. So take the variable A and assign with value 10. Then take the same variable A and assign with some string, that is Sham here. Then we try to print A. Then we try to print A. Then ID of that object. So that is tracked by the variable name A. Then type of the value that is provided to the variable A. So can you think what happens here? So here what happens is that the computer creates the object A equal to 10 first. Later, it assigns the value 10. Now the same object is provided with a string. So what happens? So when it comes to the second instruction, the first object will be garbage collected. Now the variable is updated with the value Sham, right? So let us check that. See here, the value A, the variable A is provided with the value, and it is the ID. Then so here it is type, right? I'm sorry for that. So type of A, so that we can come to know the assigned value is string, correct? Right. Now how we can name the variables? So the variable name may be starting with a capital letter or all capital letters, that is fine. So let us consider 2, then print that variable count. So when you run this, so immediately you can get the value as 12. So in the same way, you can also use count equals to 34, then print count, right? Again, you will get the answer as 34. So this is also acceptable. Now you can take the underscore, then you try to count, assign a value to this. So try to assign a value. So it may be 50.32. Then try to print that one. So count, right? So when you run, then you can get your answer 50.32. So these are acceptable in naming the variable. That means the variable name should start with a letter, that may be a capital letter or that may be a small letter, or even underscore is also acceptable. And Python is a case sensitive, right? So here what we can do is we can write total equals to 12, then capital T, then total equals to 34, then all letters are capital, then we give 100, then we try to print each one. So print total, then print total, then again print total. So now each variable is assigned with a different value, so that we can get 3 different values, right? But when you try to print the values to the variables of the variables with different naming or case sensitive cases, then you will get the error. We will also see that. So here total is 123.98. Then what we are going to do is printing the total, but we did a typo error. So print capital T total, right? So what happens is that, so immediately the total will be assigned with this value. So object will be created. then we are printing the value that is held by the object. Now when we come to the next instruction, so it is case sensitive, so this particular thing is not defined earlier, right? So it throws the error when it coming to third instruction. Let us check that. Right, so here total given as 123.98, and the here the capital total is already defined, right? So here it is defined in the previous cell 34, that's why we got that one. Otherwise if it is not defined, then we will be getting the error. So for that we will go for another convention, no problem. So x equals to Sham, then we try to print capital X. The variable name is small x, but here we are trying to print the capital X. So it is case sensitive conflict, right? So immediately it throws the error. So here already this capital total is defined here, so that's why we did not get any error here. So it taken that variable value. So but here when the variable is x provided with the string, then we try to print the capital X variable. Then capital X variable is not defined earlier, so it gives the name error saying that name capital X is not defined. Okay, right. So variable names may have, while we are giving the variable names, we can use alphabets, letters and underscore, numbers and everything, right? So for that you can write my variable underscore 01 equals to 3.76. Now you try to print that it is acceptable. My variable 01. So you run it, you will get the output as 3.76. But the variable name should not use any special character, or it's not start with those special characters, right? So in this case, what I can do is take dollar my variable gives 10 or 14 and try to print that. So here we are not following the rule, so we will get syntax error instead of name error, right? So here it is dollar my variable. Just try to run this, you get the syntax error. So we are not following the rule in naming the variable, so we get the error. Now we should not use any keywords, right, in naming the variables, like in previous in the example we have seen definition as a variable name. So here def, we are giving a value, again Sham, then we are trying to print the variable. In this case it is def. Then already def is a keyword, but we are using that, so we are not following the rule. So immediately we will be getting the syntax error. So these are the various uh, practices that you can use while naming the variables. So coming to multi-word variable naming, right? So we will be having different styles, right? Like camel case and snake case and Pascal case. So like that, we will see each one. So in case of camel case, so we are commenting that. So camel case, right? So in this case, what you can do, my name is the variable name, and it is Sundar Merugu, right? So when you try to print, we'll get the output because it is acceptable and it is in camel case, right? So I'm just copying this. So next one, we are working with snake case. Snake case, right? So here I just pasted and I'm going to keep an underscore, then small letter. Then again, I will be using this variable name so that it prints me the output what I want. Okay. So in camel case, the first letter should be small, that is small m, and the second word first letter should be capital. When it's coming to snake case, all the words will be in small, and each word should be separated by an underscore. So that is you need to follow, right? So again, here I got my output. When it is coming to Pascal case, right? So in this case, the first word, first letter must be capital. Second word, second letter must be capital. We call that one as Pascal case. So here, my name again, I can give, right? So now if I try to print that, so I get my name. Then it prints me the output as we expected. Now, how we can assign the values to the multiple variables? Let us take, here I am writing assigning multiple values to variables, right? So I take variable A, variable B, variable C, and assigning values to them as 1, then 5.3, then Varangal, right? So one is integer, one is float, one is string. Now I try to print A. So when I print A, I will get the value as 1, output value as 1. When I print B, I will get the float value 5.3, and when I try to print C, I will get the string as output. So let us check once. So the output is as we expected, right? So now we will see a simple swapping program. So A comma B, or we can say, as we know, Python is case sensitive. So here I will take some value, some variable name. So variable is assigned with 23. Now I am trying to print variable. I made a typo error, right? So here the variable name is capital V, and here it is small v. So when we try to print that, I got a name error, and saying that variable is not defined. So I made a typo error. So this way also I can get the error while working with the variables, right? So in this video, we have learned about variables and how to assign value to a variable, what happens when a value is assigned to a variable, then how we can assign the values to the multiple variables, what are the naming rules, and what are the various naming conventions that we can follow, like camel case, snake case, and Pascal case, and what are the pros and cons of each naming convention, what are the possible errors that may occur while working with variables. And we hope you got a very good insights with the variables in Python, and thank you very much for watching.